Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about this little breakout that we've seen come out of Bitcoin here over the last couple of days, because if you've been watching the channel over the last couple of days, you will have seen this breakout develop, and in today's video, I want to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is about to continue this rally and continue moving to the upside, perhaps moving up towards price targets up close to $4,000, maybe up to $4,200 or so. We'll be looking at different price targets for that in a second, or if Bitcoin is about to go Bartish, as you can see in the title, and actually fall back over as Bitcoin has done recently. A good example would have been right over here, where Bitcoin rallied. It looked like it was going into some kind of a flag or a pennant or whatever, and then actually managed to go south instead of continuing to rally. We're going to be talking about which direction Bitcoin will be going in today's video. We're going to be laying out the bullish case and the bearish case, and at the end of the video, we'll be trying to decide which one is the more likely outcome. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel if you do it, and it would be appreciative if you did it. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,600. And by the way, some people in the comment section or in the premiere yesterday were telling me that I need to drink less coffee. Well, I have coffee right here, and I would like to say to them, death before decaf. Anyway, Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,600. And if we jump on over to CoinMarketCap, we can see that the vast majority of the cryptocurrency markets are in the red, at least in the top 10. And that's to be expected after the major rally that we saw yesterday and the day before. It's normally going to be like that when you see Bitcoin rally 10% when we're in a bear market, that we're going to see some more bearish price action come in over the next couple of days. So this isn't anything to really be worried about, but nevertheless, we'll talk about it. Bitcoin's down by about 2/3%, XRP down by 2.5%, excuse me. Ethereum down by almost 2%. And we sort by change over the last 24 hours, we'll see that Aurora, Theta, Hypercash, and ARK are all in the double-digit green. I do believe ARK was the only loser in yesterday's video, and it's nice to see that ARK's having its day in the sun now, because ARK is up 43%. But as I said, the vast majority of the cryptocurrency market is red. It's not a very deep red. These aren't a bunch of double-digit reds. It's just like 3, 4, 5% red. Nothing really to be worried about, but it is something that you need to keep an eye on when we're talking about our cryptocurrency technical analysis. Anyway, Bitcoin's daily volume is still rather healthy, around $6 billion. I've talked about this before, but I'll mention it again. I like seeing that Bitcoin's volume is a lot higher proportional to its price action right now than it was back over in Q3 and Q4 of 2018, because when Bitcoin was trading over here, now we can turn our volume on and we can see this, but it's going to be skewed a little bit because of the way the chart works. If we turn our volume on over here, we can see that recently the volume has gone up dramatically, and this is volume based on the price action, so this is a bit skewed, but we can see that Bitcoin's volume was dropping off very, very quickly here in 2018, and we saw very, very low volume. Some days we were getting under $3 billion worth of volume on Bitcoin, and now we're seeing the kind of volume that Bitcoin was getting on some of the top some of the top altcoins like Ethereum. We're seeing it coming on Tether also. I like to see that extra volatility, because what that extra volume, because what that typically means is extra volatility, and both of those are very important fundamentals that we want to see improve moving on into the next bull market. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump back on into the technical analysis here on Bitcoin and try and get to the bottom of which direction Bitcoin is going to move here. Now, one thing I want to point out is that some people are calling this a bull flag, because we can see that we can kind of draw a little flag here, a little basic flag right here, and say that, okay, well, Bitcoin's come up here, it's going to trade sideways for a little bit, and then it's going to rally again. You see that happen a lot, where you see a market will break out. Let's see an example right over here. You see a market will rally. I just kind of picked this one randomly out of the chart. You'll see a market rally a little bit. It'll trade sideways and consolidate a little bit, and then you'll see another rally. And this is a good example where Bitcoin was rallying, trade sideways, rallied a little bit, pulled back a little bit, rallied again. That kind of thing does tend to happen. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about why I'm not totally convinced that that's going to happen, but let's go ahead and run with it since we're outlining the bullish scenario. One thing that you can also do with bull flags is that you can take the height of the original flag, and then you can extrapolate how far the rally would move, just like that. You can see we draw our line right here from the top of the bull flag, and then bring it up here to the bottom of the bull flag, and we can kind of predict about how far that the rally would go. And there are a lot of people, including myself, that would say that if Bitcoin was going to break bullish out of this and have another leg to the upside and break bullish instead of Bartish, then we would see Bitcoin moving up in between about $3,800 to $4,000. Let me go ahead and give you another couple of reasons why I would be looking at those kind of price levels. If we come over here and we draw a downtrend relating to these three trend line touches, which I haven't talked about a lot on the channel, but I have been watching, and now they're becoming important, we see that Bitcoin has a couple of different trend lines that you can draw. We draw a trend line with a pivot point over there, a set point right there, and a reinforcing point right there. That's the kind of terms I use for defining how trend lines are drawn, and that would show Bitcoin getting resistance and topping out somewhere in the range of that downtrend of resistance. You have to realize these little extrapolations like this are not perfect. They're not going to be set in stone. So this being kind of in the same ballpark is good enough for that kind of analysis. There's also another trend line you can draw, which I haven't seen as many people talking about, and that would be this one. Instead of drawing this original one, you could draw this one off of this touch over here, and that would put this trend line showing us resistance almost exactly where this breakout would be. Now, if we go ahead and get rid of this and we actually look at some things like the Fibonacci levels, you can see I have them up over here already. We come in here to the 4-hourly so we can see a little bit better. Then we can look at a couple of different Fibonacci levels that Bitcoin may get resistance on. One of them actually is the 23.6% retracement level, which lines up almost perfectly with $3,900. As we can see, we'd be 23.6% retraced all the way back up to $6,500 where this downtrend started, and that would put us somewhere in the, that would give us resistance somewhere in the ballpark of what we're looking at. Now, of course, some of you guys are going to say, rightfully so, that that isn't necessarily the way you want to use Fibonacci, and that's true. You want to use a more recent high than that. So let's go ahead and use another one over here for like this one, for example. And we could see that if Bitcoin did go up to around $3,900, then we would be getting resistance on the most important Fibonacci level, the 61.8% retracement level, bringing Fibonacci from the high over here down to the bottom more recently over here. The 61.8% Fibonacci level, also known as the inverse of phi, which is 1.618, and then a continuing string of characters on from that. That is the most important Fibonacci level, and as you can see, that would be giving us resistance somewhere in that region. There's a lot of different reasons to believe that we may be looking at resistance in that region. There's also other different levels of support that we could draw. For example, we could look at horizontal lines starting right here. We have a level of resistance there, some resistance there, some support over there, and we would see that Bitcoin might top out around $3,750, guys. What I'm trying to do in this video is not so much lay out the levels of resistance that Bitcoin is going to bounce off of. I want to show you guys how you can find levels of resistance, because watching YouTube videos and watching my videos and everyone else's videos here in the amazing crypto community that we have on YouTube is great. I do recommend you doing it, even if you are good at technical analysis, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a crypto YouTuber. It is good to get other people's opinions, because there's always going to be something that you miss. But with that said, it is important that you guys have the basic knowledge of how to identify levels of resistance, levels of support, identify trends, breakouts, all these kind of different things. So it's important for you guys to understand how to identify the levels of resistance that Bitcoin may be looking at if it breaks bullish here. So those are the kind of levels of resistance I'm looking at. I'm looking at some Fibonacci levels. I'm looking at some flat levels of resistance based on previous price action. And I'm looking on some levels of resistance based on extrapolating what Bitcoin has done recently into the future. So that's the bullish scenario. What does it look like if Bitcoin goes bullish? I would expect it to move up to between $3,800 and $4,000. Now, I want to make clear right now, I'm going to make this clear later on in the video also, I'm not calling Bitcoin turning bullish. I'm simply laying out the bullish scenario. I'm going to talk about which scenario I think is more likely here at the end of the video. But now that we've covered what a bullish Bitcoin would look like, let's go ahead and cover what a Bartish Bitcoin would look like. And I'm definitely going to start using that term because that is too funny to pass. Anyway, if you guys are not familiar with a Bart Simpson, I'll go ahead and explain it because I have had some people be confused when I've used that term. If you guys know what Bart Simpson looks like, he basically looks like this. He's got a little head. He's got some little scraggly buzz cut thing, whatever the heck that haircut is. And this is him. He's got his little face. He's got his eyes. He's got that. And then he says, you're stupid, or whatever he said. This is your boy Bart Simpson, okay? And this is what Bart Simpson looks like on a chart. And this is why people call this a Bart Simpson pattern, because Bitcoin rallied, traded sideways with Bart Simpson's little buzz cut up here, and then traded back down again. And for whatever reason, the left side of Bart is green and the right side of Bart is red. It's just probably just some kind of weird suntan, but nevertheless, this is what a Bart Simpson pattern looks like. Bitcoin rallies, trades sideways, and crashes back down. That's kind of the pattern we're looking at here. And this is what people are concerned about happening here on Bitcoin over the next couple of days, is Bitcoin trading sideways up here around $3,600 and then crashing inexplicably downwards to the bearish side and going what I like to call a Bartish Bitcoin. So is that what is going to happen to Bitcoin? Let's go ahead and dive into why this might happen. And one of the most important reasons that this might happen is actually out on the daily chart. You guys know I'm a massive fan of moving averages, and it just so happens that I haven't shown you any moving averages in this video yet. Well, here's one. This red moving average right here out on the daily chart is actually the 50 daily moving average, the 50 daily simple moving average right here. This moving average, and this is a very important moving average. I don't talk about it as much as I talk about some of the other moving averages, but the main reason for that is because it hasn't been important recently, but it is an important moving average. We can see back over here that when Bitcoin was trading over here in September, October, and early November, when Bitcoin was getting was getting resistance up here. It was trading up here and getting resistance at these levels. Right there, we got resistance at. We rejected off of it. We were trading here. We got resistance off of it. We rejected off of it. It was also one of those moving averages that we could use to identify longer-term trends like bullish breakouts, bearish rallies. It is an important moving average. We saw trading around it over here. If you go into the Ethereum chart, for example, it's a very important moving average, and these are the kind of things you want to be looking out for, is the historical precedent for the technical analysis you're doing, and the 50 moving average does have a lot of historical precedence. And it just so happens that even though Bitcoin got through my main man, the 20 exponential moving average, this moving average down here, this kind of greenish yellow one, you guys can tell me what color that is. I'm very colorblind. This color down here, this moving average, even though Bitcoin did get above that, and that is bullish, Bitcoin is still below the 50. Now, on the bullish scenario, if Bitcoin gets above this, that's going to provide a lot of exuberance. That's going to cause Bitcoin to rally in a major way and push us up towards $4,000 like we laid out earlier. But if Bitcoin cannot get above this in the next couple of days, it's going to act as a ceiling and it's going to push us lower. And that could very easily trigger a Bart-Simpson pattern. I've seen Bart-Simpson patterns be triggered from a lot less than that. So it's very possible that that moving average alone could go ahead and mess up this rally that we're looking at. The other thing that I want to talk about is the overall sentiment in the market. Now, if we look over here at the shorts and the longs on the hourly chart, what we're going to see is that shorts are crashing and longs are rallying. As you can see, Bitcoin longs, have been going up here over the last 24 hours or so, and Bitcoin shorts have been going down. On the surface, that may seem good. That may seem all well and good. I do like to see that. But you also have to keep in mind that not everybody is shorting and longing Bitcoin. That is only on Bitfinex, and there's a lot more stuff going on in the market than just what Bitfinex is showing, which is why I do use the shorts and the longs chart when it's really, really obvious that it's showing you something. But sometimes you have to be careful about giving the shorts and the longs chart too much weight. With the overall sentiment in the market, I do still think that it is mostly bearish. I don't think it's all the way bullish yet. I think we've seen a lot more bullishness over the last couple of days than we have in quite some time. But I would say that the majority of the market, and not a very large majority, I would say maybe 55 to 60% of the market is still bearish. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been trading downwards all this time over the last month and a half. I do still think there's a lot of bearish sentiment in the market, and I think a lot of people, after seeing a 10% move like this, are going to take profits. And taking profits can really cause this kind of Bartish pattern right over here where Bitcoin crashes. So, with all that said, what is Bitcoin going to do here over the next couple of days? I've laid out the bullish scenario and where the levels of resistance are. I've laid out the bullish scenario. I've laid out where the levels of resistance are. I've laid out the Bartish scenario. I've laid out where the levels of support and everything are and why Bitcoin may bounce. And the levels of support are very simple. It's down here around this double bottom right here. We also have a couple of other levels of support, for example, right here based on previous price history on around 3,480. I didn't go too in-depth on levels of support because they're pretty simple. This is a very good one right here. Which one is it going to be? Well, guys, I'm slightly more inclined to say that Bitcoin is actually going to go bearish here. I know you guys like to call me a permabull, but I'm ever so slightly, and don't come back and yell at me if Bitcoin goes bullish. I'm like 2% more likely to believe that Bitcoin's going to go Bartish right here. Right now, Bitcoin is in a bit of a breakout territory. We've seen Bitcoin go into this long-term descending wedge pattern. We've seen Bitcoin now break bullish out of it. That's very good for Bitcoin, but I am not yet convinced of the strength of the bulls. I want to see more bullish price action. If we do see a bullish breakout here and Bitcoin does start rallying, I'd be very happy to see that. Don't get me wrong. If we do see that, then I'll be a little bit more convinced of the bull's strength and I'll be more inclined to take their side the next time. But with the overall sentiment of the market in mind and that kind of gut feeling that I built through doing technical analysis on the charts every single day, it seems to me just ever so slightly more likely that Bitcoin is going to go Bartish. Now don't go take that to the bank. Like I said, I'm like 52, 53, 54, 55% on that. But we're going to see what happens. But anyway, guys, in this video, I also wanted to talk about what you can do to prepare for both scenarios. Because what I like to do in my trading is I like to prepare for both the bullish and the bearish scenario so that no matter which one happens, I'm either safe or I make money or both. A good example of this would be when Bitcoin moves into a consolidation pattern. I've talked about this before on the channel, so I will be brief. But as we can see here, Bitcoin at this time was over here in a consolidation pattern just above our friend Ghost Bart down here. And we saw that Bitcoin was moving upwards. We saw a bullish breakout, and then we saw a Bartish breakout in the similar way that we may be seeing here over the next couple of days. But what I often tell people, let's use this one as an example, actually. what I often tell people with consolidation patterns is that they're very easy to make money in, but they're also very easy to lose money in. What you need to do is you need to have a buy order up here and a sell order down here. It's very simple. Protect yourself if you break the level of support, and buy in if you're breaking the level of resistance. Now, it's best if you're watching this for the breakout so that Bitcoin doesn't just kind of creep up here over the couple of hours and then break through your level of your buy order and then crash. Be careful of that, because you can end up crashing through your sell order and then just wasting a bunch of money doing that. It's better to do this if you have your volume up and you're watching for a breakout. As you can see, I promise you there's going to be a big volume candlestick right there. It's good to do that. But in consolidation patterns and in many other chart formations, it's a good idea to have buy orders in the proper place and sell orders in the proper place if you're already holding Bitcoin. If you're not already holding Bitcoin, then, well, you don't really need a sell order. But after you buy the Bitcoin, if Bitcoin breaks out, then you can set the sell order with the Bitcoin you just bought. So a very similar thing you could do right here is you could have a buy order right here. If Bitcoin breaks bullish and starts moving to the upside, it's probably going to do so in a major way. So you can pretty safely have a buy order right here. And by the way, guys, I'm not telling you what to do here. I'm telling you what I do and why I do it. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. All of that stuff, I had to say it. Anyway, one thing that I do is I would put a level of a buy order right there, so that Bitcoin breaks out, I'm covered. And then if I was already holding Bitcoin, then I'd have a sell order right here to hedge against that, just in case Bitcoin breaks bearish, and then catch myself so that if it falls all the way down here, I don't lose all of this valuation right here. But if Bitcoin does break bullish, then I bought in some Bitcoin and I'm moving to the upside. So that's the way that you can do that. If you're using shorting, then you can do the exact same thing. You can have a short right here, and then you can have a close for your short up here. Or you can have a buy order up here, and then a short down here, and then a close for your short up here, and then a sell order down there. If you want to get really complicated and make money no matter what Bitcoin does, then you can do that and play the market and basically be almost guaranteed to make money. Now, I'm not telling you to do that because that is complicated and easy to mess up. But there are a lot of different ways that you can almost guarantee you're going to make money in the market no matter which way the market breaks. And those are a couple of the different ways you can do it if you're careful with it. I'm not recommending you do that, like I said. Anyway, guys, I think you get the message. Bitcoin's trading exactly $3,600. That's always nice to see. Anyway, guys, tell me in the comment section down below which direction Bitcoin is going to break here. Which direction you think Bitcoin is going to break? Is it going to break bullish, or is it going to break Bartish? I almost had a little tongue twister there. Is Bitcoin going to move to the upside or move to the downside? And are you guys prepared for either? Are you prepared with your buy orders up here and your sell orders down here, your shorts down here and your covers down here? What are you going to be doing in this market? I would love to hear your opinions in the comment section down below. Let's get a conversation going and try to help out some of the people that are newer to the cryptocurrency space, because what I've seen here on the channel and in crypto recently, kind of like how I was talking about with the improving volume recently, is that the market is actually continuing to grow. We do have more people coming into the market every day. There's always new people. If you're new to the cryptocurrency space, tell us in the comment section down below, and maybe we can get a conversation going and we can help you out with some of the things that may seem daunting to you when you're first getting into this space. Because I know when I first got into crypto, these charts and everything were very confusing, but it doesn't actually take anywhere near as long to learn them as you may think. Also, if you want to join our little community in the Crypto Jeb Discord, there's a link to join our Discord server in the description down below. We have close to 2,000 people in that Discord server, and I absolutely love the community. I would love to see you over there. Come check out what we have to offer there. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. As I said earlier, death before decaf. And that's going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.